Solving by substitution. Solving by substitution is a method of solving a system of equations that works very consistently. It will work no matter what two equations you're given, as long as they are two variables, and it will find the solution set. To solve by substitution, you'll solve one equation for a variable, substitute that expression into the other equation to make a one variable equation, solve the new equation, which gives you half of your answer. Then you have x or you have y. You can plug that number back into one of the two variable equations, solve, and find the rest of your answer. That's a lot of text, and you should be able to match these steps up with what we're doing in the next lines. So, solve an equation for one variable. Well, both of these equations are solved for y, so that's straightforward. The second thing that we'll do is we'll substitute that expression into the other equation. So, x plus 2 is the same thing as y. That's what this equation says. X plus 2 is equal to, is the same thing as, can replace y. So it can replace y in the other equation. So I can say x minus 2 is equal to 6x plus 3. I just erased the y and replaced x minus 2 in there. Now we solve this equation. This is step 3. So we get negative 5 equals 5x, and dividing by 5 gives x equals negative 1. That's step 4. This is part of our answer. Now step 5 says we can substitute that into any of the two variable equations. I'm going to substitute it back into this two variable equation. It's x, so I can put in negative 1 where x was and find out what y is. So y equals negative 1 minus 2, which is negative 3. And now we've completed step 6, and step 7 is negative 3. So our entire answer is negative 1 is x, and negative 3 is y. All right, step 1, get one of the variables by itself. Done. So the other side can replace y. Because it's equal to y, it can replace y. So I'm going to rewrite 3x plus 8, and in the parentheses will go what we just are replacing. So 2x minus 7 replaces y. Now we're on step 3. We solve the equation. 3x plus 16x minus 56 equals 20. So 19x, add 56 to both sides to get 76, divide by 19 to get x equals 4. Now we're moving on to step 5. Plug in x back into a two variable equation. Y equals 2 times, we just found 4 minus 7. So y equals 8 minus 7, which is 1. So x was 4, y was 1. That's our solution. So this makes both equations true. 3 times 4 is 12, plus 8 times 1 is 8, 12 plus 8 is 20. All right, now here, neither of the equations have x or y by itself, so we have to solve one of the equations first. I'm going to solve this equation by dividing by 2 on both sides. So this is step 1. We have to divide by 2 to get one of the variables by itself. You won't always divide by 2, you're just trying to get a variable by itself. Now this can go into the other equation. So 6x minus 7 times negative 6x minus 11 equals negative 19. So it's replacing y. Now we start solving this equation by distributing. So that gives us 6x plus 42x plus 77 equals negative 19. 49x, subtract 77 from both sides to get negative 98, and divide by 49 to get x equals negative 2. Now that we have a value for x, that's our answer in step 4, we plug it back into any two variable equation. So y equals negative 6 times negative 2 minus 11. Negative 6 times negative 2 is 12, minus 11 is 1. So our answer is negative 2, 1. So now these steps should make a little more sense. That we solved an equation for a variable, we got y by itself, we plugged it into the other equation, solved the new equation, getting x or y, and then plugged it back in to find the other one, which is the rest of the answer. We got 3 more examples here for you. Here, this is already solved. We can substitute this in. Negative 6x plus 2 times 3x minus 5 equals negative 10. Negative 6x, distribute in. 6x minus 10 equals negative 10. Combine like terms, that adds to 0, so negative 10 equals negative 10. What does that mean? Well, if this were a one-variable equation, we'd say all real numbers. Because it's a system of 2-variable equations, what it means is they are the same line. You see this description with coinciding lines. So what this is saying is if we put them both in y equals mx plus b form, they would be the same. Y equals 3x minus 5. Anything that makes this equation true makes the second equation true. I would also accept, although it's technically not correct, all real numbers I would accept, but it's not the best answer that you can give. I'd rather you say they are the same line or they're coinciding lines, because any number in one, any pair in one, if it solves one, it makes the other one true as well. All right, this one. Okay, we need to get x or y by itself first. I think it will be easiest to say get x by itself here. So let's add 3y to both sides. So 4x equals 3y minus 5, and divide by 4. So x equals 3y minus 5 over 4. That can be substituted in for x. Because it's equal to x, it replaces x. So 3y minus 5 over 4. When we do 8 divided by 4, we get 2. And then we can distribute in the 2 to get 6y minus 10 minus 7y equals negative 13. 6y minus 7y is negative 1y. Minus 10 equals negative 13. Add 10 to both sides. Negative 1y equals negative 3 divided by negative 1 gives y equals 3. Now we have y, and we can plug it back into any of the 2-variable equations. Now, typically I've plugged it back into the last one. You can do that, and I think I will again here, although some people like to plug it back in here or into here instead. If you really don't like the fraction here, you're allowed to do that. I'm going to plug it back in there. So x equals 3 times the 3 for y minus 5 over 4. 9 minus 5 over 4. 9 minus 5 is 4, divided by 4 is 1. So 1, 3. Last one, we want to get y by itself first. So subtract 5 from both sides. Y equals negative 2x minus 3 minus 5. Now that can be substituted into for y. So we have 6x plus 2 times what we just substituted in, negative 2x minus 3 minus 5. To solve this, we'll definitely need to simplify the left side of the equation. 6x plus 2 times, we'll have to simplify that, negative 2x plus 6 minus 5 equals 10. 6x plus 2 times negative 2x plus 1 equals 10. Distributing that in will give us 6x plus negative 4x plus 2 equals 10. Combining like terms gives 2x plus 2 equals 10. Subtracting 2, 2x equals 8. Dividing by 2, x equals 4. Now we plug 4 back in here. So y equals negative 2 times 4 minus 3 minus 5. Negative 2 times 1 minus 5 is negative 2 minus 5, which is negative 7. So our x-coordinate was 4, and our y-coordinate was negative 7. That's how we solve by substitution. Thank you.